Hello, everyone. Welcome to our final Coffee and Conversations chat with CU Denver Student Life. I'm Lance Glunz, the office's procurement coordinator. Today, I'm joined by Lory-Ann Varela, director of the Learning Resource Center. Hello, Lory-Ann.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you for joining me this morning. Before we get started on your work, I'd like to ask you, how are you personally handling this time of social distancing and remote work?
Mhm. Personally, I'm an introvert, and so I have found that the first couple weeks I was able to get recharged, and I found myself like performing really well. But I'm actually starting to miss people now, and I would love to be back on campus. But my major adjustment has been regulating my coffee and making sure I'm mixing caffeinated with decaf so I don't get too energetic all throughout the day, and I'm able to sleep at night.
I am surprised that I haven't really been regulating my intake, but we just put in a order for more coffee packets and we've had to add creamer to our regular grocery list. So I appreciate that.
Yes, I wanted to pace myself for the long run.
Nice. Good planning.
Thank you.
So LA, how have the Resource Center's operations been affected by our recent campus changes?
Mhm. And so our center and everything we do is so relational, and that involves tutors and supplemental instruction leaders and workshop facilitation, all occurring in group settings or with other people. And so a major transition was putting everything online. And so figuring out how do we get each of these types of sessions to be online and then able for students to sign up new appointments for tutoring, new sessions for supplemental instruction, and new workshops that were being offered. And so our major transition was getting everything onto Zoom, uh, starting to build a navigate system that we can use for appointments, and then training everyone how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing is, our tutors, they're an incredible team. They want to help students. And so they actually were able to increase the number of drop-in hours and things like that. So I would say our transition was swift. We did it all in a weekend. And that we're still learning from that weekend what to improve and what to do better.
That's fantastic. I applaud you on that quick turnaround.
What a team. They worked really hard. And, one of the neat things is we had tutors who were proficient in Zoom, who
Mhm.
hosted training hours for other tutors, and then also consultations, which they were willing to jump into their first session to help guide them through it and be there in case they had any questions. And just an example of these are CU Denver students and how they step up to the challenge, but also how committed they are to one another. And they showed it during this time.
That's great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
What resources are available to students as they prepare for finals remotely? And maybe where may students find more information about the Learning Resource Center's different programs?
Mm-hmm. And so we've been updating our website, our Learning Resources Center website, and we're getting ready to unveil a brand new jazzy website in June. And so look forward to that.
Great.
But we have updated workshop and tutoring hours there. And so we've also got an email, the tutorial services email that's located on our front page. If students see something they don't see something that they can use, they're like, I have a different class and I want extra support in that, they can email us to ask us if we have that available.
Mm.
But students can look at that and see all the drop-in hours that are available, not only right up to finals week, but some of them will be available throughout finals week. So some of our tutors that they have their finals done or they have a gap in their finals are still providing services. And that way students have someone that can help them review and talk it out loud. Um, our workshops have finished up, but we're getting ready to launch our summer workshops. And
Okay.
so students can keep an eye out for that. Um, Yeah, and if students wanted to do an individual appointment, they're like, I'm needing help, with some of my learning strategies. We even, if they contact our email, we can get them set up in an appointment with a staff member.
Great. Thank you, Lory-Ann.
You're welcome.
For some of our students that are looking ahead to the summer semester, I'm curious more about the summer project that you just mentioned,
Mhm,
or how your services might change through the summer term.
mhm. And so for the summer term, we're looking at some of the major classes in which we can provide tutoring. And it'll be a little quieter because there's less students enrolled typically during the summer, but we'll still have some tutoring and drop-in hours available. Towards the end of summer, we might have some intensive prep set up for certain classes. So
Okay.
students will be able to hone up their skills, really build those foundational skills for certain subjects so they enter feeling more confident and that they've had a refresher on it. We will have summer workshops. We've never had summer workshops before, but that's something that my staff member who does an excellent job facilitating those workshops, she is working on initiating a brand new schedule with different topics. And right now she's been researching how some of the topics that we have done in the past could be changed for what students are currently wanting. Like, how do you manage your time with online courses? How do you engage with the material in a way that's going to make it stick when you don't have that in-person dynamic? And so she's working on that. And we are doing the Navigate system that a lot of different advisors and offices use, and it'll let students go to their own launch page on Navigate, be able to sign up for appointments. So they can
Mm,
sign up for workshops, they can sign up for different tutoring and see what's available and fit it according to their schedule. And if they don't see an appointment that's available, they can still do the drop-ins. And so that will all be launching over the summer. And I think there was a second part to what you asked me.
um, that was basically it,
Okay.
like just what programs, how they might be changing for the summer, but you
Yep,
just.
got it.
So lastly, do you have any study tips for students as they prepare for finals remotely, or thoughts for students who might be struggling with their workloads right now?
Mhm. So one of the biggest things is we've learned so much about the brain and how the brain functions in the last decade. And I remember when I was a student, which was a couple decades ago, um, I was instructed pick one place, get in that space and study there and study for hours intensively on one subject. And what we've actually learned about the brain since is the brain is a finicky character and likes to be entertained and likes what is new and different.
Mhm.
And when we're in one place studying one subject, the brain starts to drift. And so, in studies that they've done in research at different universities, they've discovered that you start to lose your potency of what you're studying somewhere between 30 minutes and 2 hours. And everyone has a different gauge. So you might be able to go an hour with optimal concentration, but me, maybe I can only do 45 minutes. And so it's figuring out what is your efficient times and then starting to break up your schedule in that. So if 45 minutes is my good time, at the 45-minute mark, I should take a break, do something, move around, or switch subjects, or do both. Get
Mm,
up, move around, go to a different location of my house or my apartment, and then study a different subject. And people are like, well, that doesn't make sense. It seems like then when I go back to chemistry, I started at chemistry and I switched to physics, but then I went back to chemistry. Aren't I losing time and momentum? Because then I have to sit there and remember where I was and refresh and recap. And I'm like, actually, that's when the learning occurs. When you go back and you do that refresh, it helps you remember. And when you're forcing yourself to recall, you're developing those pathways that are going to make the recall of information easier on the test. And
mhm.
so I tell folks, space it apart, break it into small chunks. And then here is the number one study tip: talk it out loud. Talk it out loud. That's why study groups are so effective. And generally, study groups between 3 and 5, 6 people are optimal. Once you start to have too many, you might have too many voices. But even if you don't have a study partner, because we're social distancing, if you can't get a hold of someone electronically, I tell them, do you have a pet? You have a goldfish, you have a cat, you have a dog, you need to talk the concepts out loud to them. And if you don't have any of those, get yourself a stuffed animal and talk to that stuffed animal and explain things out loud to them. And while it may seem silly, the act of talking it out loud is one of the most engaging ways. And when you explain it to someone or something else, it helps you remember and recall later. And so in studies that they've done where students have implemented this practice, they have reported back a higher level of recall. And so that's my biggest advice. Talk it out loud, space it when you switch between subjects so you keep your brain entertained, and find your maximum study time before your brain starts to snooze. And then make sure you just practice that.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
so
you. I
much.
could talk about this for hours. I love it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you so much, Lory-Ann. I really appreciate you joining me this morning.
Thank
If our viewers have any follow-up questions, they can contact the Learning Resource Center at tutorialservices@ucdenver.edu. We hope you'll check back with Student Life soon to see the latest in our virtual programming and summer plans. Stay safe, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.